So I guess we are a little bit on time, so let's make it work right away. As you know, I'm Marian, and this is our 17th meetup, which we have as a part of engineering leadership community. We are almost over 770 people altogether these days, so we are growing pretty fast, which I'm really grateful for. And today, allow me to welcome you at Microsoft, the company which we partner with, to make sure that we provoke your thoughts, especially around this topic. Because let's be honest, this topic is sort of a overhyped bubble. And today we want to destroy and demystify all the hype which is around it. The way how we will do it, and we'll start with Saumya, which is from Microsoft. She will start, she's basically a product manager at Microsoft Copilot working with Microsoft Teams. Then we will follow by, please just stand up, with Honza from Pure. He's going to have an excellent contribution to the talk, where we will expose the customized ChatGPT and how it works in order to help us with the engineering manager role as such. And then we will completely destroy it and debunk it with Petr, who's making quite a lot of and providing quite a lot of AI workshops around the Central Europe, where we will be explicitly stating whether it really makes sense and under what circumstances to invest into Copilot for developers or not. So let's see how that goes. Just cut the bullshit, enjoy the show. And most importantly, we're looking forward for the networking and the rest. So before we start, as I was saying, you can please take a seat. This is our mission, and this is what we stand for, meaning we really aim to ensure that we are boosting the engineering productivity throughout the leadership. And here I'm not joking. In my opinion, throwing more people and more developers into the machine doesn't help. What's really sort of under-neglected as the engineering leadership, especially on the first and second level. And I think this is the golden piece that if we build it right, it really brings the fruition and the things that we want to expose in terms of the efficiency and the productivity of people. As I was saying, we'll be talking no theory, no bullshits, no books. I'm really paying attention to make sure that there is nobody who comes in by saying, like, I read a Thorry's continuous discovery book, so now I'm smart. We want to make sure that here we are talking with people who went through some real life experience that we can share together. So with that in mind, please welcome Saumya, and we'll give you some piece for the lightning talk. Really looking forward to it. So enjoy it, guys.
Thank you, Marian. As you can see, he set up a very, very high goal for all of us, saying, everybody who comes to this talk has to save at least one day a week. So that's how I set up our conversation, and hopefully you find it useful, and you can let me know if you actually save one day a week. A little bit about me. I'm the Director of Product Management for Microsoft Teams here in Prague. Quick fact, fun fact, Microsoft Teams meetings actually was seeded and built. This was the home ground for all of Microsoft Teams meetings. It's a much bigger team now. I lead the product team here in Prague. And I have done stints in India and Czechia in Microsoft. I'm a career Microsoftie, so anything you want to learn about Microsoft, I'm happy to share more. And then, of course, most interestingly, I've been doing a lot of work recently on Copilot, so I'm happy to share more about Copilot if that's of interest. Let me quickly walk you through the journey of me adapting to AI and generation AI. So all of you have heard Gen AI is here. It is literally the generation AI. If you think about it, there's no Gen Z, there's no Gen X, there's only Gen AI right now. If you haven't adapted, you're probably losing out. So that's the goal of this conversation, to sort of start all of us to start thinking more and more about AI, especially as leaders. Because if you think about it, scaling yourself is very important. There's a lot of things that you could do as a leader, but you also need to think about how you scale your people, your product, your processes in this AI first world. Internally in Microsoft, AI is like the new buzzword. We're only talking and thinking about AI. We might be living in a bubble, but based on what the trends you're seeing in the industry, how fast this is moving, you actually, as an individual and as a leader, you can't really move fast enough. So let's deep dive into seeing how you can do some of this. First off, this is like a major lifesaver for me. I have 8 to 10 meetings a day on a normal day, sometimes even more. A lot of times, because I work with my colleagues in the US, I have parallel meetings, like, in the same hour, and I don't need to attend all of those. Earlier on, the option I had was recording, like just sort of go listen to the recording on 2x. Super boring, not helpful, and I don't feel engaged at all. I hate watching recordings. With this intelligent recap experience that we have now in Teams, I actually cut down 2 to 3 hours of my daily meetings overload, and I'm sure a lot of you who lead large teams here would relate to this problem of attending too many meetings which you're not really part of. So I can sort of see if I was mentioned in this meeting, if there's any follow-up task for me, what's the gist, and this is a super useful tool. I hope you're all using this to scale yourself and sort of save time for more meaningful activity. Another thing that I used to spend a lot of time on, I'm a perfectionist, I love to write, but every time I start writing, it used to take at least 2 hours for me to draft a document. I don't know how many of you have gone through the writer's block. Right now, if you just use AI to seed some of this, like, give it a document, give it some, rough thoughts, it will write a full lengthy document for you. Of course, you need to spend time editing it, crafting it, making it your own. Oftentimes, you want to make it more authentic. You want to make it more real. Sometimes AI also hallucinates, so you need to make sure that you fine tune it. But it's a much lesser task than starting from scratch. So that's a super useful skill to sort of start honing on. And I felt that from day one to day end now, I think that skill sort of just slowly keeps getting better, and I save more and more time on document creation and editing. Last but not the least, I'm not sure how many of you are used to waking up in the morning to see hundreds of messages, or coming back after a weekend, seeing lots of emails, and sort of just having a summarization for all of those helps save me a lot of time. And this is just sort of how do you, as an individual, your teams could do it, but I think some of these problems as leaders you would feel probably more. However, that's not where the story ends. There is so much more. Prompts are essentially changing the world. They're changing how we work, and learning to adapt our teams, our processes for these different prompts is super, super critical. So I want to give you some real examples of what I did in product management in changing how we work. So just a little bit of background. This is a workplace index survey that Microsoft does, talking to thousands of companies, LinkedIn users, etc., to sort of figure out where we are in the AI journey. So this year, these are the results. What's interesting here is you'll see 4 categories of users. You see the skeptics, the novices, the explorers, and the power users. Ideally, you want yourself and your teams to tend more and more towards the power users. The power users are the one who research and try new prompts. They regularly experiment with prompts. Every time they start something new, they're like, can I do it better? Can I do it faster with AI? Like, that's the mindset that you want to cultivate, not just for yourself, but for your entire team. And it takes time. It takes a lot of repeated processes, but it is so essential for us to adapt to this new world. Otherwise, we'll just miss this wave of AI. So with that context, I'm sure a lot of you would have heard of prompts, like how do you make prompts more effective, and you can sort of look at provided more specificity, and the more specific you are, the better it gets. In fact, it starts imagining a lot of different new things, in fact giving you ideas and thoughts if you become very specific with the prompt. Also giving it some context, giving it your tone, like all of those are things that these are very, very obvious things, but the key thing here is to sort of almost make it muscle memory. Like, how do you sort of just have this conversation and learn more from this smart LLM. But are you experimenting with prompts to improve your business outcomes? Like, that's where it gets more interesting, because then now you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for your broader team. To give you an example, as product managers, if anybody in this community is a product manager, you would have taken notes, you would have done a lot of spec reviews, and a lot of times spec reviews are a lot of what are the decisions that are being made, what are the big questions, the open questions that were not answered, what are the what are the places of contention that we need to go resolve. And when we looked at the Copilot output, what was happening was the Copilot output was extremely, discussion summary oriented. So it goes something like, blah said this, the blah blah said this, and then there may be some follow-ups. It's not really specific. So with that prompt, what we did is make Copilot more specific. So after a meeting ends, you sort of give it that prompt saying, hey, can you sort of do all of this editing? Can you sort of outline the open questions, the challenges, the decisions that were made? Also keep some space for humans to add their inputs. And that made it a lot more efficient in terms of doing a product spec review. Now, this isn't something that maybe would be available as a regular feature in Copilot, but you would want to do that as a customization tool for yourself, for your team. And this is an example of product management. You could actually scale it to any other, like maybe an engineering spec review, which is very different. Like if you're discussing a design architecture, the different outcomes, and you being the SME are the right people to craft that prompt correctly. So this is one example where we are seeing it being more and more effective as we use more and more custom prompts. Another thing, interesting example I wanted to share with you. In our last FHL, I actually built this tool for my team called Pally.ai. It was with the beautiful thing about AI is even product managers can start coding. So I did this small hackathon. It did help sort of reinstate with my team that this is important. This is something that we all should be spending time on. I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm trying to learn. All of you should as well. And then what I also saw was some of the things that this helped address was for early in career PMs, it helps you democratize some of the frameworks that you build. As more senior leaders, you would probably be able to translate it with AI and sort of multiply yourself by providing those frameworks more easily to your more junior, early in career folks in your team. And again, like this is not specific to PM. I'm a PM, but I'm sure you can extend it to spec reviews, mentorship, etc. for engineering as well. Last but not the least, it is also a lot of fun. So this is a fun prompt that we started trying in our team. As you can see, it's super detailed. So it looks the Copilot looks at all my mails, Teams messages, etc., and then creates this fun dossier on me. It was a lot of fun. It actually got a lot of people to start playing with it, and that's what you really want to sort of coach your team. You want people to play with it. You want people to experiment with it, and well, that was the dossier that it created. I was actually not too far off from being accurate. So, and it gives you, it's a good conversation starter. So like zero budget morale activity for your team. Last but not the least, please get started today. You can try multiple prompts and across in the industry, there are lots of these different LLMs. Please go and try it today. Copilot has a bunch of prompts that you could try on the Copilot library and just to sort of get your hands dirty, and then you can do much more. And that's my time. I hope I stuck to it. Right.
Thank you. So as Saumya said, we should experiment. So I would like to have this talk as an experiment as well. So we will be using ChatGPT in practice. But before we go to that, when I'm talking to my friends and family and colleagues about the AI, sometimes I hear a lot of pushback about the changes. I guess that's the Gen X and the Gen AI generations are revolting to accept the change. And they are sometimes quoting me some titles from the newspaper and Twitter and everywhere. And this is something like, hey, the workforce will be replaced, our jobs will be replaced. But when I look at the titles, sometimes they are happening regularly. And I can see that basically, yes, some workforce has been cut during the Industrial Revolution or during some years before. And that's how I'm trying to basically approach the AI as well. There are some jobs which were replaced not by AI, but some automation, for example, telephone operator. Nowadays, nobody's working as a telephone operator. And let's see at the end of our talk today, or at the end of my talk, whether this will be true for our jobs. So let's start with something simple. And here we'll start with playing with the ChatGPT actually. Let's say that I'm a manager and I would like to get the budget for having a mentor, for example, Marian here, as I did it actually. And I would like to have an email which I will send to my manager to request a budget for this mentor. And we will use the AI to do that. So in order to do that, what we need to do is to provide some context. This is very important, not to basically start with task, but provide some context. What do you like to achieve, why, and what is the purpose? What is the context behind that? And then tell AI the task. So this is the prompt I've used. I would like to have a mentor to extend my leadership skills. With the mentor, I would like to focus on, and I've mentioned something, your task is to prepare an email I can send to my manager with request for the budget for the mentor Marian. Let's try that. So I have my ChatGPT here, and I have prepared the same prompt so that I don't have to copy it. And let's send it. It's preparing the email. It will be, I tried it before, so I know what will be the result. But as you can see, I have the draft of the email. It's very long, I would say, but it works. That's the first start. And many people end here because they say, okay, I gave the task and I have the result. But let's say that I am not satisfied with the result yet. I would like to take it to the next level. Any guess what we can do more for this? And I will be asking you more about this. So context, okay, cool. Sorry? Outcome, okay, good. All right, nice. So the way I went through that is that I wanted to support my request by some numbers. That, you know, the numbers are selling. So, and this is actually a pitch. So I would like the AI to give me some numbers and actually also the studies, so which will extend it and basically make my manager more in favor to do that. So my extended prompt, sorry, I'll show it to you first. I've just extended the prompt that at the end of the email include some numbers proving positive effects of mentorship to employer, my manager as well, and backed up by studies. Of course, I don't know these studies and don't know these numbers. And if I would like to do that, I would spend a lot of time just reading the internet and trying to figure out some studies which will support this case. But with AI, it's like that. So let's give it a try. In another tab, I have this prepared. And we will have the email ready. And now, except the context about what I would like to achieve, I have there the numbers and studies. What I would suggest you always check the result, check the sources, so that you're not talking about the bullshit, because sometimes AI can hallucinate. So show me a link to the studies. And I can verify that. It will provide me links, and I can go through that, and I can check it, verify before I send it. That's nice. Now I have email with the numbers, and it's pretty solid. But I'm still not satisfied, and I would like to work more on that, because let's say mentors are not cheap, and I need to get a rich budget for my manager. So what else I can do? I have email, that data. Marian, what would you do to get the support? Sorry? Target? Yes. Okay. Right. In my case, the email which was written was not, let's say, close to how I usually communicate with my manager. It was something like a machine written. And if my manager would get it, he would think, what happened to Jan, that he suddenly communicated with me with like that. So, yes. So what I've done is that I've picked one of the emails which I wrote to my manager, use it as an example, and tell AI to mimic the style of the communication I'm usually using with my manager, so that when the email arrives, he will take it as a normal email, which is my intention. So in order to do that, here's the prompt. I'm still extending the one, and with the bold one, we'll see what is added. So I would like the output to have the same style of communication as I do. So I will give you a simple email. You can analyze my writing and communication style to use the same for generating the email to request the mentor. And then I picked up some email. As you can see, I'm calling my manager Tim. All of this is made up, by the way, this context. It's not relevant. So let's give it a try. As you can see, the previous email is dear manager's name, something, something, something. It already knows that my mentor will be Marian, so it's using it. Now I'm providing the context and the instructions. And suddenly, AI started calling my manager Tim, because from the context of the email, it started assuming that my manager name is Tim. Quick tip, recently, the ChatGPT introduced memory, and between the chats, it now remembers. So when I was preparing for this, I figured out that suddenly AI knows that my manager is Tim, even though I open a new window and start talking about my manager. So be careful about that. It now remembers the context between the windows. So, and one cherry on top, because I'm still not satisfied with that. Usually, we all are lazy, so we don't want to spend too much time on prompting. So usually when I'm working with ChatGPT on generating something, I'm already telling it to give me free versions or free variants, meaning that for the first prompt, I'm getting different flavors of the email with the different data and everything, and I can pick from these versions. So let's give it a try. I do hope that it'll work. And now, as you can see, I'm getting variant 1, variant 2, and variant 3. And I can just choose from them which I like. Either I can say the variant 3 is the best for me, and we can fine-tune it, or we can combine the versions together. And also we can instruct ChatGPT to do so. Okay, that was the part where I was giving some input to ChatGPT and asking it to generate stuff. The next use case I would like to be talking about is with the feedback collection, which I have been using at the beginning of this year. So when I'm doing the feedback collection, I'm preparing the set of questions. I need to send the questions to the people who I'm collecting the feedback from, and then summarize the feedback for the employee and share it with them, because I think the feedback is valuable, not only for me as their manager, but also for them as a valuable source. But imagine that you have, for example, 10 direct reports, and for each direct report, I was asking at minimally 5 people to provide the feedback, and for every employee, I had 3 questions. So if I'm counting correctly, it's 150 responses, or basically questions answered. It's a lot of data which you need to process, and I was still processing them, reading them all. But doing the summary is not an easy task, especially when you are doing a summary of something. You are, let's say, putting there your opinions as well. You are not that objective. So I wanted to give it a try, because at that time, the ChatGPT Enterprise was enabled for us in our company, and basically gave the task to AI. So what I've done, I collected the feedback myself manually, collected, and kept it in one place, explained to the AI what is the task and what is the format of the input, of the long input which I will put, and then I verify the results. It is important to make sure that when you are presenting something to your employees, not to do it without your control. So let's check it. Here we go. So first, let me show you the prompt. I will be collecting feedback. I'll give you all the responses in the next message. The questions are marked. I'm using Notion for my notes. So Notion is using some special characters to highlight the headings and all the stuff. I've also given it the instruction that with the sharps, there are names, and I don't want to disclose the names in the feedback summary. And then your task is simple: to create a summary of collected feedback. let's go for that. Oh, oops. What happened? Right. It understands. So let's say that I have a worker called Volker. And as you can see, sometimes people are not responding all the questions. Sometimes people are responding to half of the questions. It doesn't matter. To AI, it understands the format. As you can see here, Casey responded only one question, but Samira responded a lot of questions and was pretty detailed. But it doesn't matter at all. I've provided feedback, and now I'm getting the summary. And the summary is very nicely formatted because what I'm getting is structure. I'm getting structure for what was highlighted as positives, what are the areas of improvement, and what are the comments. So as you can see, for example, Volker is pleasure to work with, but maybe he needs to improve his time management and prioritizations. And this is something which you already can present. And instead of, let's say, summarizing it for each employee manually, I did it all with AI. And when I was basically presenting to the employees, I've always let them know how I did it. Side tip, in order to basically be between the ones who provided the feedback, I answered the same questions as I was asking the feedback providers and put my answers to the file and then let ChatGPT summarize it as well. But my voice was equal to others as well. So it was well accepted from people in my team. They actually liked it. But I wanted to be honest with them how I processed that so that we all learn from each other. But there is more. How to take it to next level? How to make it even easier? And this is a big step. It's not just, let's say, fine-tuning one prompt.
Collect forms so that it's in database and it's easier to process than copying from them.
Nice. Okay. Anyone else want to try? Suggestions? I like where you are heading. Okay. So then the ChatGPT introduced the custom GPTs, which is basically, you can call it chatbot or mini GPT, which you can pre-configure, give it the context in front, and then you can play with the context. So for example, I've created a custom ChatGPT called Management Assistant. This is her picture, actually. It generated for itself. And I provided the data about the team I'm working with. So it knows the team, it knows their levels, it knows the company expectation on each level, and it knows the team history plus the previous feedback. Good to keep in mind. Use the ChatGPT in enterprise, which is giving you some privacy about the data which you are providing it to, just to be safe. So let's meet my dream team, which we'll be using as examples. I call them Skynet platform team, and Sarah Connor is the tech lead. And for these people, I've prepared templates, or basically the data in a structure, and then I've provided it to ChatGPT. So it knows about Sarah, what level she is at, what she likes, what drains her, what was the feedback from her colleagues, and additional comments. Same for Mr. Bean. He's a junior, and what his strengths are, and let's say areas for improvement. Then I've provided, just to make sure that it understands it well, the table about our team. Then, as I said, I've provided also the expectation on every level. Let's say that we have expectation on Eng 2, Eng 3, Eng 4, and 5. And there is expectation about the design, problem solving, all the stuff. And then what I did with the team is that I did the competency metrics so that the team can evaluate how they feel about each technologies we are working with. And all of that I've provided to my new management assistant. So let me open her. And let's see how I did it. So this is custom GPT. definition. First, a bunch of the instructions you can find online. It's not important. But here is the stuff which I've added. I've provided the context that I'm the manager of the team. What is the team name? That's where you can find the team members. The detailed description. Also that I've attached the engineering levels table, team competency metrics, all of that. And when I was fine-tuning it, I figured out that the team competency metrics for the ChatGPT was a bit hard to process. So I needed to give it more hints to basically to know when I will be asking about the technology to refer to this sheet. Okay, let's get back to that. And once we have the team, we can include this to help us with the feedback. So now I will be asking it for suggestion of questions. And as you can see, I don't have to provide much context now because all of the context is already inserted into the ChatGPT. Oh, I need to copy the prompt. Sorry. And now let's give it the instruction. 4 questions for Volker. As you can see, it generated pretty easy task. And now I will say, do the same for Sarah. And I have another set of questions. But what's important for me here is that, as you can see, Volker and Sarah, they did get a different sets of questions because it knows the context about the people. And we can ask, why does the questions differ? And it can give you the results because it knows about their strong parts, about their areas for improvements, and it also understands what is expectation on each level. So it can provide me the feedback questions I can be asking, which will be tailored to each employee. And also, these questions will be touching some of the stuff from their history, not only about the context I've provided, but it understands the team structure and team dynamics, which is pretty strong. Okay, let's back to this. But there is still more. There is still more levels to come. I'm experimenting with that as well. There is one disadvantage. When you upload the file, it cannot basically sync the file. So I have the one-on-one notes, but if I would like to utilize them as well, I would have to, after each one-on-one, export it from Google Drive and upload it as a document to ChatGPT. But I do hope that it will be solved one day, because I saw that recently they have added support to Google Drive, but it's still not working with the custom GPTs. I don't know why. But it's a really good tip, because once this will happen, I will not have to basically provide the files. I will just provide the shareable links, and it will be much more powerful. So how to take it to the next level is to basically try to use some integration tools. For example, Zapier is very strong integrator, or Make. And what you can do is that you can ask AI to generate the questions, send the emails. Once you get the responses, you can categorize the responses per employee, collect the results, do the summary, and have everything presented to you. Unfortunately, I cannot show you this because it's a lot of work, and I'm not allowed to use the company account with Zapier or Make, which is unfortunate. But with that, the feedback collection will be very straightforward and fully automated. If you don't use Zapier or Make, you can ask ChatGPT to write the integration for you, and it is also it is also possible, but the code is pretty long. All right. But after all of that, how to take this to the next level, right? It's like there is not much involvement of human, actually. And I think that's a problem. When I was preparing, yesterday actually, when I was preparing this talk, OpenAI had an outage. I made this screenshot way before, on June 4th, but yesterday it was there as well. So on any level, don't rely only on AI. Be the one who is basically controlling the results and be the one who is able to do it manually as the old times, let's say. So this is a historical picture of ladies whose job was replaced by automation. This is a picture of us. And this is a picture of people whose job will be replaced by AI as well. No, actually, I have a different story and better story for you. So one of the team members was Michael Knight. I'm not sure which generation you are from, but let's say that when I was young, there was a TV series called Knight Rider, and Michael Knight had a good partner, which was his car, called Kit. And Kit was very capable to basically assist Mike in various tasks. Michael was usually fighting with villains and criminals. And I think you can use the ChatGPT as Kit. It will be a supercar which will make you run fast. It will help you, assist you. In worst case, it will eject you from the seat as well. But this is the tool which will really enable you to do much more. But anytime, please make sure that you are in the driving seat. And please make sure that you can control what is happening and where it is going. Thank you.
All right, so AI is your senior developer. And by the words of Marian, let's cut the bullshit. And let's jump straight on. So first thing is some agenda we'll have. And we need strong foundations. Without foundations, you can't jump right in AI because it will be as a house from paper or paper cards. Then we'll take a look at some Copilot stats because Microsoft has something and there are some research studies. And I have my own case study from the company I work with. And then we'll take a look at ROI, which is model case. It's not the real one, but I have two cases. And then I'll show you some biggest advantages that I see right now that we can use. And in the last thing, it will be about vision and the future, what AI can bring us. Because as you can see, AI is right now, and it's my assumption, boosting developers by around like 10% in reality. And the thing is that we have a lot of various tasks and we need foundations in the company. If you don't have pipeline, if you don't use Git, which I sometimes meet, it's a problem. So you need to build strong foundations. You need to have processes. You need to inform the people. Then you can start using AI. And in the future, I expect that AI will bring much more powers because it's limited right now. It has limited context, it has limited knowledge, and it has limited powers in complex tasks because I was working as a front-end developer. And as a front-end developer, it's pretty problematic to use AI to convert designs to HTML and CSS. And I'm not talking about specifics of the tech stack of company. So as powers of AI will grow, it will be important to provide the context that we have in our company, in our team. And as Hans has shown, it's important to provide the context of the team as well. And it will be same thing for assistants in programming, because if you have junior developers, they would be more keen to accept suggestions of AI, and sometimes it might be problematic. So future is bright. And what are the statistics? There is 39% code churn year-over-year raise, and it's a problem. And what does the code churn mean? It means the code that is edited or changed or removed completely within 2 weeks from being committed to the repository. And it might be really good because you say, yeah, we are iterating fast, we are moving forward. But usually that's not the case. And the case is the code is buggy, it needs to be reverted, and there are problems with it, especially if you don't control it, if you don't have some quality processes. Also, next thing is higher acceptance from junior developers. And it goes actually down. More senior developers tend to accept suggestions way less because they work in a different way and their tasks are sometimes more complex. They have to cross the teams. And those of you who work with staff engineers and you have them in your company, it's a way different type of work being a staff engineer than being a junior engineer. And there are different competitions. Next thing is also connected to like code churn, and I see it as a negative thing, and it's moved code. AI is really great in creating new things, but it sucks in reusing existing ones. And that's the next problem, because if you use AI to generate more code, then you will use AI to reduce it and manage the architecture, and it's still pretty weak in this part. So it's important to have some quality measures as well. And I'm coming back to the strong foundations. And now some marketing stuff from Microsoft and GitHub. They claim that developers are 55% faster with GitHub Copilot. But the reality is that if you take a look at their tasks, it's something like, yeah, please implement Fibonacci. And I don't do it in my work. Raise your hand who implements Fibonacci as your day-to-day work. See? That's what GitHub Copilot does. So now to case study with one of my clients. It's a company called Travelport, and they contacted me, and their goal was to boost developers by 30%, and they have a team of 30 developers and QA mixed together. And we are in workshops phase. You'll find out later how many phases there are. And this is a photo from the physical workshop in their offices, but most of it was held online. So the statement they gave me was, we need to raise the productivity by 30 to 40%. And we already use ChatGPT and Copilot, and we have it paid on the company level, which is also different thing to take a look, because some companies are forbidding AI, some are not taking care of it, so developers do it in hidden, and they just don't care if company finds out, and leaks might happen. It happened to Samsung in the early days of ChatGPT because somebody uploaded, I think it was kernel code, so it leaked, and ChatGPT was banned for a while in Italy for those leaks. So it's important to understand the problems, the limitations, and use the licenses that are meant to be used this way. As was mentioned, it's great to use enterprise, and if you don't have it, at least team version, and turn off the sharing for training. And the solution wasn't something like, yeah, I will do one workshop and you will have 30% boost like this. No. It's long, ongoing process. And it needs some cooperation with individuals, with team leaders, with members of each team. And I wanted to collect the feedback, get insights into their work. So the phases are understanding. I need to understand the company, understand their composition. How many people do they have? Then there was a physical workshop or some meeting where I tried to open the mindset of people, because people don't usually know what are capabilities of AI, and they don't even know what tasks they can do with AI. And on the other hand, sometimes they use it for incorrect tasks. There is a lot of cases where AI is really unreliable, and it needs to be taken care with open mindset. Then, after I understand the people and they have some time to process the information, it's important to identify the real cases. After they've seen the things that are possible, they need to process the information, and they are open to me to share in some form or in some live call. And after that, there is workshops part with this client, but it can be something different. Each client is different. So workshops are one way to deliver productivity boost. Sometimes it might be taking a look at digitalization process and building strong foundations, because workshops with AI are great only when you have the foundations, as I said, and if you have the processes and know what to do. After that, there is like almost gut level, and it's knowledge sharing in the companies. And it's not specific to AI. I think that companies should have some channels or some coffee breaks where they share the information. And it's important on many levels. And with AI, it's even more important because there are prompts, there can be custom GPTs, and there can be some in-house tools, which is the good level. And the company itself understands its processes the best. I can work with them for months or for years, but I am still not working full-time with them. So they will find out that they can do some in-house development. Maybe they have specific needs for code reviews. So they will not use some generic code review tool. They will build their own. And this whole thing is a loop. They can build something, and then they will find that it's limited, so it will continue in a loop and will go over the process. Or maybe they'll pick another expert, because I'm not the only one, and there are many experts, and some of them are experts. So what we currently did is we've had 8 workshops, and first one was like open mindset workshop, and then 7 workshops happened online, and with limited amount of people, usually 5 to 6. Because if you have a group of 30 people, it's problematic. People are afraid to ask. People feel that they are losing the context, and there is more. So I usually limit to maximum of 10, but I prefer around 7 at maximum. And you need time between the workshops. I can do it in one day, but it would suck. People need, again, process the information. They need to use it in real time. I can do my best to simulate the real tasks they do, but it will always be just a simulation. So after they identify the real needs, we can continue. We can make more workshops, or they finally reach to sharing and building their own tools. We also identified 4 groups. As I said, limited amount of people of workshops, and the groups vary a lot. Here there are C++ developers, QA team, and 2 web teams. So I can't just put them in one group because the tasks would be too generic and it could be problematic. And last part is the 4th phase, as you've seen on the previous slide. Now let's get to some ROI calculation. First one is pretty optimistic. We have a team of 30 developers. Their salary is 5.5K. And by licenses, I mean ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot in enterprise levels, because you want all the beefy security. Education is for long process of cooperation, and you need to pay for developer time, and it's counted all in this. And productivity boost is 20%, and it's pretty optimistic. And why is it optimistic? Because this company in this model is using a lot of legacy tools. They need to map from database to Java classes, and it's where AI is great. It's a repetitive task. It's something that's boring. Nobody wants to do some mapping, but there are companies who still do it. So it can be this huge boost, and then ROI is over 300%, almost 400. But there's another company with negative ROI. They keep pushing in education. They don't see the results, so they are like, yeah, one more workshop and one more. So in the end, they pay way more in education, but the productivity boost is still really low. And where do I see this? it's usually companies who work with low-level languages and especially PLC programming. If you work with machines, there is not enough data in most of AIs in the data set. And it's important because maybe this company should take different way. Maybe they should collect the data to train their own AI or fine-tune the existing ones. And it's possible to do it. I have a friend who's focusing on building synthetic data sets for PLCs and low-level programming. And it's also what IBM did. They recently released Granite models, which are trained on things like Fortran or COBOL. Who of you uses such languages in your companies? Yeah, but there are companies who do it. It's usually banks, automotive, and it's important for them to move forward. But the ROI could be negative if you go this path and don't analyze properly. Biggest advantages right now, and it's from my perspective and from the perspective of people who already use it, is research. I don't know if I should use CUID or UUID, and I don't know how to make environments in Python. So that's great for research and understanding the topic. And then I have a lot of problems with AI or without, and I need to debug the code. Now it's integrated into Chrome and Microsoft Edge as well. And if you open DevTools, there is Gemini Nano, and I don't know which model Microsoft uses in Edge. It might be online, but now we are taking more of a hybrid approach. Apple pushed it forward with their Apple Intelligence, but it's nothing new. And that's the thing we'll use more and more. Also, understanding the code. If I have new developer, and who of you would love to show your documentation to new hire? I see few hands. So yeah, you can understand the code with AI, and you can build the documentation, which is 0.5, because a lot of companies don't have types, don't have documentation, and AI can help with it. But again, you need to validate, you need to verify the results. And 0.4 and 6, they are also connected, and you can prepare the data. It's hard to test with production data. You don't want to leak real customer info, and if somebody is new hire, you don't want to give all your information, private things. So it's usually done in testing environment. But testing environment fails a lot of time because it doesn't mirror the real data. And there are tools which are running locally, and you can anonymize the production data, but still it will be as close as possible to to real data, but without real emails, real names, and it will make testing easier. So we will seed the database for each environment and just use it. Now let's see into the future through some vision. For testing, I believe we need more breakthrough in AI, because we need more true multimodal models that can consume by default images, code, and code is pretty problematic. Even though it's text, we don't want to use code as a text. So we need to work on this part. And it's also a really complex topic. We need some domain knowledge, business knowledge, and we need to understand usually really large code bases. So we need to process tons of data, and it will be important to have really large context windows. Right now, the biggest commercially available is Gemini from Google, but there are major breakthroughs coming. Microsoft posted a research paper about basically infinite window, but you need more beefy computers and GPUs to process it. And then you need to connect all the things together. That's why the multimodality, because you need Figma designs, you need a real design in the browser, you need the code, you need console logs, you need Jira ticket, and then you need to connect it all together. And before the programmers will be replaced, will need to do the same thing as we do with electronic cars or autonomous cars, because it can assist us, but we need to be in control. So what about our work of programmers, developers, and managers? It will change more into the knowledge work. Right now, I don't think that here many monkey coders are sitting. So it will be slow transfer. But first will be replaced people like WordPress administrators and things that are already being replaced. So it will be switched to knowledge workers even more. We'll need to understand the architecture, the scaling, the domain, and connect it with deep thinking. So that's all. I'm freelance consultant. I'm open to work with you. And if you don't want to work with me, just play the board games with me. Thank you.
So basically, as you know, we achieved quite a lot of our ambitions. We went over 700 people this year, which was the goal for this year, basically. Doing the public meetups, we have, as you can see, more than 50 attendees per meetup, which is really great. And there are more and more of the things. I don't want to massage you with too much of the data, but Amy, she's the one who's helping us and helping particularly me in moving from operational stuff to strategy and providing you the best experience for our meetups. So thanks again to Amy. With that in mind, we are actually opening the third circle of Engineering Leaders Academy. I don't want to expose it too much. You can find the details on the webpage. It's a 2-day workshop which will be held, I think, on April. The capacity is really limited. Last time we had 14 people, which was too above the cap, in my opinion. And here's the deal. If you can please share what you've learned, what stayed in your mind out of this session, I'd be okay to offer 20% discount for precisely. I had 2 people there, not too many, that we will choose separately. And basically, you might have, I think, 20%. It moves from 1,050 euros to 800 something euros, which might be really good for you. And you have, again, as Honza presented, a pretty good use case why to move to our academy here. So that's the one. The other, yeah.
Can we do more than 20? What do people have to do to get more than 20 though? Just curious.
Try to be as much explicit as you can on LinkedIn. you can do whatever funny stuff you want. Basically, I'm all for the funny thing. And last but not least, you can feel free to scan this code. Actually, for our cause, for our mission around the engineering leaders community, we are doing our best with Amy to find the right people who are helping us as ambassadors with moving us to the next level. It's not going to be for free. We demand certain proactivity and engagement into what we do. What we offer in return. We want to boost your social credit score, of course, by basically celebrating our success all together. I would be more than glad to welcome you at our strategy talks that happen once per quarter, just to validate our thoughts all together. I might be also fine to provide some of the mentoring sessions for free, or just having me closer to you for certain opportunities. And most of that, and Amy, she wants to give me some signals.
Private dinners. And
the private dinners eventually that we want to organize. So as you can see, there's quite a lot of things. And sorry, because I'm lost into all the different things and streams that we are operating with. So as you can see, I really need somebody next to me. Otherwise, I'm totally lost, as my wife says.
But also, we have Kuba here, and he's our first and main ambassador.
Yeah.
He's the head
he's number one hat with that. So thank you for that. Of course, there are more and more people joining our community. No need to discuss that any further. So with that in mind, I just want to make sure that before we all leave this room, we have great networking, great after party. I'm not sure whether the beer is served here or not. It depends. It's ready. So let's do that. Please, no need to move away. Just let's have some chat, because 1/3 of things is to get better and get smarter. But 2/3, in my experience, is getting better at networking and speaking with the right people. So please do use this opportunity to make that happen for all of us. And with that in mind, what I was going to say, I hope that there was at least one thing, 1 second or one spot that you can remember from this talk. We are really making sure that these things are highly practical, no bullshit, no theories. So please support us and stay with us. So thank you and enjoy the networking and the rest of the day.